back. We apologize sincerely for a couple of technical difficulties here. But right now, we have got another banger on our hands. Jason Laporte.
How you doing?
Color commentary booth with me. Jason, what a night we have had. And right now, we've got Sebastian Mordecai. Gets a quick takedown right now against Andrew Mikkelsen of Agima Jiu-Jitsu in Provo.
This should be a phenomenal fight.
It has been such a great night already. And Sebastian Mordecai, 12-2 record of his opponents in the past. The combined record of his opponents in his last 4 fights, 12-2.
That's pretty amazing. You don't see too many amateurs taking fights like that with guys that are undefeated or with 4 or 5 fights under their belt, and he's taken any and all comers. And
Andrew Mikkelsen started training just a couple of years ago and was a former kicker for BYU I should say, and works a lot of his striking. But again, Sebastian has a very, very good grappling base. Grew up wrestling, blue belt out of Northside BJJ in Arizona. Another takedown by Sebastian.
Another big takedown.
Just smothering him on the ground.
Andrew trains out of Agima Jiu-Jitsu, so you know he's going to be pretty well versed on the ground as well. We'll see if he'll be able to kind of counter some of this wrestling that you see. And there you can see with the Khabib little leg ties there. Sebastian, very well-rounded fighter.
Well-rounded fighter. It's interesting because he is moving up from welterweight to middleweight. He usually fights at 170 pounds. Right now, fighting at 185 pounds against the undefeated Andrew Mikkelsen. Neither of these fighters have had a loss in their amateur careers as of yet. And Mordecai continuing to smother on top.
That top pressure is just heavy with that top pressure. He's controlling that arm. He's got that left arm controlled.
You think he might be chasing the back here almost once Mikkelsen
Yeah, you can see him
in.
kind of making his way over there. I just started my jiu-jitsu, so you're going to have to do the play-by-play on this stuff because I – uh-oh, there he goes. There he goes. You called it.
Mikkelsen working towards the back, trying to feed through to get a little bit of a seatbelt grip. Moves back and now has the back of Andrew Mikkelsen.
Oh, now Mikkelsen's on top, so reversed it.
Mikkelsen back on top. The crowd is going crazy. Mikkelsen fighting out of Provo, Utah. He's here in front of his home crowd tonight.
Yes, he is.
People want to see Andrew Mikkelsen do well. Mordecai continuing to wrestle, even though it seemed like it was about to get stood up.
It did. Mordecai's with a heavy pressure, heavy wrestling pressure. And this is what we knew this coming in. We knew this was going to be a heavy wrestling fight from Mordecai. Andrew knew that he was coming in. He was going to fight a tough guy, and he wanted a really tough opponent. This is the fight that he said he wanted.
Mikkelsen talked about by a lot of his nice head kick there by Andrew Mikkelsen. That's the end of round number 1.
Another impressive first round.
Another impressive first round. We continue to see great fighter after great fighter. And as soon as it's stood up, Andrew starts teeing off as well. I mean, you can tell that's where his world is. He wants to be standing.
He actually caught him with a nice little left hook there towards the end of the round there.
Mordecai, 2 decision wins in his career, 1 submission win, a rear naked choke in his debut back in June of 2021. And then just recently, as of March 5th, he got a TKO in round number 1. So very well-rounded fighter in Sebastian Mordecai as well.
That's one thing with the Agima Jiu-Jitsu guys coming out of Agima. They're always prepared. They're always ready. They're on weight. They're going to give it everything they got, win or lose. And you're going to see that with every one of these Agima fighters out of here tonight, win or lose. They're going to bring it.
A lot of fighters over at Agima, as I've talked to them, have mentioned that they are jealous of Andrew, how quickly he's been able to pick stuff up. The D1 athlete.
D1 athlete. And just look at him. I mean, I need to put a shirt on there before I get in the cage and interview either one of these guys.
Beginning of round number 2 right now. Sebastian Mordecai in the blue gloves, searching for, once again, another takedown. Mikkelsen in the red, trying to deter.
Mikkelsen doing a very good job trying to stuff that takedown, too.
Very, very good job there by Mikkelsen. And that's what he has to do right now because he wants to stay standing. There is the takedown once again by Sebastian Mordecai. And a lot of times fighters will talk about you want to stay off your back, specifically in MMA. Mordecai now.
Looked like he had a Kimura grip there for a second.
Was looking for one right there was Mikkelsen. Mordecai able to base out
Nice little palm strike from the bottom by Mikkelsen.
It's so tough up against the cage, too, because you have a limited range of motion when you're on the bottom like that. And Mordecai is just such a savage.
Phenomenal job controlling the legs. Every time Mikkelsen tries to do something, he's controlling those legs, getting them tied up and keeping him on his back. And this just speaks to the level of the fighters nowadays. I mean, this is a 2-0 guy and a 4-0 guy.
The longest time Mikkelsen has actually ever been in a fight at this point, his first 2 fights were first-round TKOs.
Oh, wow.
So this is the longest Mikkelsen has ever been in the cage with any one opponent.
I would think, being a D1 athlete, that I don't think he's going to gas. So was he the punter at BYU? Is that
He
it?
was the kicker
Okay,
at BYU, yes. He was the kicker at BYU 2014, and then from 2016 to 2018, Andrew Mikkelsen gets back up, him and Sebastian Mordecai.
Sebastian shot again. I think looks like Sebastian's taking a couple shots. I don't know if he was hurt. I couldn't tell.
Couple shots there from Andrew Mikkelsen from the top in the sprawl. Sebastian trying to get back to an advantageous position here. But yes, Mikkelsen 2014 and then 2016 through 2018, the kicker for BYU. He was listed as 200 pounds when he was a kicker at BYU.
Wow.
So now fighting at 185 pounds, you got to wonder where he stands and walks around at every single day.
All right, Dave breaking him up there. Let's get the action back to the center of the cage. Mordecai, his game plan, he's shooting. And you know what? As this fight goes on, you're seeing Mikkelsen starting to stuff a little bit of these takedowns a little bit more.
He's starting to see it. He's starting to realize where Sebastian wants to go. But again, Sebastian's still able to get Mikkelsen down.
Yep.
And that is where a lot of the judges like to see if a wrestler is taking someone down. That's where they want it to go. Mordecai out of Northside BJJ in Tucson, Arizona, making the trip out here to Orem, Utah for his 5th fight. Final 10 seconds here in round number 2. Mikkelsen up against the fence. Mordecai continues to wrestle. Better round for Andrew, though.
A little bit better round. And like I said, you start to see him starting to stuff a little bit of those takedowns. Mikkelsen, he's tough. I mean, his wrestling is very impressive.
3rd and final round is upon us, the first 2.
So how do you see this?
So far, it looks like Mordecai has been able to control
That's
as much as you possibly can. Mikkelsen able to get a few shots off here and there, but currently I would say it's going in the favor of Sebastian Mordecai.
So if you're Mikkelsen, what do you need to do in this 3rd round? Are you thinking you need to come out here and you need to try to get this guy out of here to get this win?
It's got to be. You have to think, I have to keep my back off of the ground.
Yeah.
If he can even be in a position where he's sprawled out and he's landing shots from the top, that's still a little bit more advantageous than where Sebastian's going if he's reaching for that single leg. But Andrew needs to stay off of his back. Sebastian has been making his bread and butter off of that cage wrestling, that Dagestani style wrestling.
Style, yep.
And it is so dominant, and it seems like to be a cheat code in there for so many fighters when they're good at it. Sebastian Mordecai is very good.
Very good at it. All right, round 3. Here we go.
Blake O'Ruling alongside Jason Laporte. We were almost halfway through. Nice uppercut there by Andrew Mikkelsen.
Oh, and he might have rocked him. He might have rocked him a little bit.
Andrew Mikkelsen now working from the top.
You know, if Andrew can stay on top and keep this pressure on him, when he's landing, he's hurting. I think he's hurting Sebastian a little bit.
Jason, he is sprawling as hard as he possibly can. He knows he cannot get taken down by Sebastian right now. He saw a light, and he took it immediately. What a beautiful uppercut.
See the strength and Andrew. Look at the strength.
He's going to town.
Wow.
Sebastian up against the cage. He looks like he's hurt.
Wow, big shots. Everything Andrew's throwing.
Everything is landing. Andrew doing an amazing job. Sebastian up against the cage, struggling, still searching for any single leg he can possibly get, trying to get this back to the ground. Andrew continues to sprawl, exactly what we were talking about.
Wow, impressive. Super impressive.
Sebastian continues to search for that leg. Mikkelsen trying to get him off of him and land a couple more shots. 3rd and final round. It is fireworks here at Mountain Ridge High School.
Mikkelsen just raining down big shots after big shot.
The crisp striking of Andrew Mikkelsen has completely turned this fight around, Jason.
So now, if you're a judge, and let's just say Sebastian is getting this takedown, if he hasn't been really doing any damage when he's getting these takedowns. Now he's controlling it, but you're seeing Andrew doing a lot more of the damage in this round.
The biggest moment of the round have gone to, the biggest moments, I should say, have gone to Andrew Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
You've got to wonder what the judges are thinking if we go to a decision.
You know, I was just on a phone call with the California Athletic Commission last week, and they went over this, and they specifically were talking about this with judges, a couple of the referees, Mike Beltran, and they were talking about that specific thing about to get a fighter that gets that control like that, but he's getting damage landed on him. They always go with the damage first. Whoever's landing the most damage is usually what the judges are looking for. But once again, now we see Mordecai getting that takedown again. But what's he going to do with it here?
Mikkelsen trying to stuff the head, trying to get back up again. His back up against the cage. Very, very difficult position to just get off of your back. I mean, you have to stand up, and it seems like Sebastian's doing a very good job at just demobilizing him.
Yep.
Andrew doesn't have a lot of options here.
What a great fight.
Andrew looking to stand up, Sebastian chasing the back, and Sebastian will get back to back control. How many times can I say back in one sentence? My goodness. Sebastian now looking to possibly get to mount. He gets to a top half guard position. Andrew on his back. Final seconds here in round number 3.
Well, I'm glad I'm not a judge. Let's just say that.
That's what Joel has been saying. That's what I have been saying. We've all been talking about how happy we are to not be judges.
I don't want to have to judge this fight. This is a tough fight to judge.
For 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the decision. All 3 judges score this contest 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28 for your winner. Out of the blue corner by unanimous decision, Sebastian.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching Fierce Fighting Championship on YouTube. For more daily content, make sure to click that subscribe button as well as the bell so you don't miss any of our daily fights, podcast clips, highlights, as well as our full weekly podcast. If you want to tune into one of our live shows, go ahead and head over to fiercefightingchampionship.com.